I'm going to come to Matthew. Matthew is going to get his crystal ball out and look at future trends. That's what he does for a living. But before I do, we've got a second poll, and we're interested in your views on what you think the big trends are going to be going forward. So on the screen, you will get a number of choices. There is an other at the bottom. If you want to do other, it'd be really helpful if you could put in the chat what you mean by other, what trend you're seeking to identify. While you're doing that, Matthew, let me bring you in. Great to talk to you again. I mean, this year we've talked a lot on these webinars about the pace of change accelerating. We've also discussed those so-called grey rhino events, which are the highly probable, high impact events that most people neglect, COVID being, I suppose, a classic example. You know, what kind of disruptive change do you expect businesses to see going forward?
So going forward, I think the single biggest business change is going to be speed. So we already know that the rate of disruption is accelerating. You know, if you go back 10, 20, 30 years, if you wanted to disrupt a global industry, it was going to take you pretty much 10, 20, 30 years to do it. To just put the speed of change into context, particularly as we have 3.5 billion people around the world connected, every business and industry is becoming a digital business, which means that everything can now spread virally. If you just think about this one particular trend, Facebook, when they released their Libra cryptocurrency, if the regulators had approved that, to quote the People's Bank of China, to quote the Bank of England, to quote the Fed over in the US, that could have changed the global economy basically in one day. It could have changed the global financial services industry in one day, and it could have taken state control of money away from those states. So today, if you have a digital product and you know how to hit the right execution levers, you can have 500 million people accessing that great product today. So the speed of change is insane, and it's getting faster, particularly with the advent of new creative machines. Companies like GM, Airbus, NASA are using these creative machines to design new products. Toyota just designed a new electric vehicle battery from scratch in 16 days using one of these machines, including testing. That would normally take 2 years. So there is a lot coming down the line. COVID accelerated everything, and then all of these new exponential technologies are accelerating again, particularly with a new digital and increasingly connected world.
Now, come on, Matthew, you get the prize for the best backdrop on our webinars. Please explain the cat.
So obviously, I support diversity and inclusion around the world. But I'm an ardent supporter of our wonderful UK NHS. A lot of our family members are actually surgeons in the NHS, so they've been on the front lines. So hence the rainbows. They always say that in the world of digital, if you want something to go viral, you've got to have a cute, fluffy kitten. So we've got a cute, fluffy kitten. But as far as the overall montage goes, when you have a look at 2021, I just think it looks crazy. That's it. This is 2021 incarnate. It's digital. It's rainbows, basically, to support all of the different workers and initiatives around the world. But frankly, it's nuts.
Yeah, definitely. So what are the three, let's go for 3 trends that you think people haven't thought of that we're going to see in the future.
So creative machines. So creative machines are artificial intelligences that are able to design, innovate and manufacture new products or iterate existing products at extreme speed. Under Armour cut their concept to shelf time down from 18 months to 2 days using these machines. So there's that for a start. Artificial intelligence, when we have a look at the use of explainable artificial intelligence, particularly within regulated environments, so healthcare, financial services and everything else, deep learning neural networks basically are very, very difficult to diagnose, particularly when it comes to things like decision making. So I think we're going to see an increase in the amount of explainable artificial intelligence, and we're also going to see regulators increasingly approving more the use of artificial intelligence across multiple sectors. And then as for the third, workforce, work from anywhere. You know, Tony and James talked about the changing dynamic of the workforce. I can show you technologies today like telepresence technologies that allow construction workers to be in one country and use 5G networks and teleoperated drone vehicles in another country to build buildings. During the first lockdown, we actually saw surgeons working from home and conducting surgeries from home. So when we start thinking about our ability for any job to work anywhere, it's literally unbounded. And then I'm going to just quickly throw a fourth one in, the democratization of everything, particularly as we talk about the future of cities. If you went back 30 years ago and I sat you in a field and told you to be productive, you couldn't be productive. Nowadays, I can sit you in the middle of a field and you can have a health check, you can do education online, you can do your banking, you can buy products, have them delivered to you in the middle of that field. Technology decentralizes and democratizes access to everything, including primary and secondary healthcare with telehealth. We've got telepsychiatry coming through for mental health and wellness. So those are my four. I was being greedy there.
No, that's fine. But quite a lot, quite a number of people listening on this call probably working in small to medium-sized companies, and they're probably thinking this is quite a long way in the future. Is that right? Is this going to be accessible technology and change for all businesses?
So I'm a small, medium business. I'm using these technologies today. So increasingly, these newer technologies always start off being very expensive, but inevitably they come down in cost. So a very good example is the use of digital humans, digital avatars. If you're a small business and you want to be able to use and you want to be able to produce corporate communications, you can either hire a film crew, you can get a camera rig like the one I have here in a virtual studio like I have here. Or alternatively, you can go to companies like Synthesia. You can pay them about 30 pence and you type in what you want these digital humans to say. They say it, you overlay that onto your corporate communications or programs, done. So a lot of these things do take time to filter down to SMEs and SMBs, but the speed at which these things are filtering down is becoming increasingly rapid, which is benefiting everybody.
Yeah. And the jobs market, where do you think this leaves employment in the UK or indeed around the world?
So we're already starting to experience a huge flip. If you have a conversation with a lot of CFOs, particularly in the sort of the global 2000, post-COVID or even during COVID, we're looking at an increase in the rate of automation, whether that's robotic process automation, whether it's artificial intelligence or machine learning automation. So we're going to see that coming out. From a workforce perspective, a lot of people will increasingly be worried about their jobs, not just in terms of do they have a job to go to, but will that job be automated? If you have a look at a lot of the news networks, they're always talking about job automation. Deloitte, for example, put out a report recently saying 600,000 jobs in the UK public sector can be automated using technologies. But similarly, just these same technologies that we're using to automate jobs can actually help unlock people's human potential. So, for example, if you have a robo-lawyer today, companies like JP Morgan can use that to trim 400,000 man-hours of work out of their legal department, and they're doing that now. But inevitably, as a small to medium business, you can use one of these robo-lawyers and you can get them for cents on the dollar to put together your contracts, to review your contracts and whatever it happens to be. So when we look at the future of jobs, expertise, skills, the workforce, there's always two sides to a story. And if you look at the future of the workforce from an automation perspective, it's dark. If you look at all of these different automation technologies and platforms as being able to help you unlock your firm's own potential, the story is a very, very different one.
Yeah. Great, thanks, Matthew. Let's have a look at that poll result. Hopefully, it'd be interesting to get your thoughts. Hope you're enjoying our new graphics. So top answers were AI and technology, which I think is not surprising. I'm surprised that figure's not a bit higher, actually. And then changes in consumer behaviour. I don't know, Matthew, any surprises there for you?
No, so as I travel around the world, a normal year, artificial intelligence and technology is pretty much top of absolutely everybody's hit list in terms of driving change and needing to get their heads around. In fact, increasingly, I'd have to be able to argue every company is becoming a technology company, and that's before COVID.
Yeah, brilliant, Matthew. Thank you for now.